This is a Sony VGN-AW220J, very similar to the 220J that I'm going to be talking about in a minute. I had been trying to replace the monitor on another unit and some other things, and as I removed the keyboard, I damaged the connector, and I'm going to show you an easy way to fix it. This is the 220J with the back removed, and you're looking at the front where the keyboard normally would be. And if you look right here is the connector for the keyboard. And accidentally I broke off the little connector, I damaged it, and so then the ribbon cable doesn't fit right. So here's the keyboard. I just laid it over here, and underneath is this ribbon cable right there, and that connects right in there. And unfortunately I had snapped off this little piece here, which is somewhat important. However, found a way around it. The connector is held in with sort of like a little plastic tongue that when it's held in place by that little piece I broke off, it pushes down on the ribbon cable. So what you really just need is like a piece of paper, sort of like a business card, as someone else had mentioned, which gave me the idea to try this. So what I did was I started with just a piece of plastic packaging, and it has a nice edge on it, which gave me the idea that I could use that to push with the edge of it. So what I did was I cut out a piece of it like this, and then this part was a little too high, so I trimmed that off a little bit, and I made this piece, and you can see it's not as tall as that one because I cut off the edge of it. And I used a Sharpie to make it a darker color because it's easier to see. Because when you're working under the thing, it's very, very awkward to try to work with a connector because of the length of the keyboard cable. But when you got this thing darkly colored, it's much easier to see. And the way I insert it in is upside down like this. So I use it at this angle and put it in. So first you insert in the keyboard cable into the proper distance inside the connector. Then you take this piece, it's upside down, but that's the way it goes in. You push it in just like this, and you can just wedge it right in there, and because it has that little lip, you can push on that, and with just a small amount of effort, it's right in there and makes a pretty secure connection. So it's really kind of hard to see, and it's very awkward without some lighting. But essentially, you slide this in just till it's in, which that goes in really easily because the connector's totally busted off. The little piece of plastic's busted off, so it just goes in really easy. Then you have to get your little plastic piece. I'm going to have to pause this. Okay, and I got the little plastic piece sitting in there. It's not really wedged in place yet, and I doubt that I'm going to be able to do it single-handedly, but it actually works a lot better, of course, with two hands. So I'm going to pause this and push it in. And there it's in. It went in really easily, only took a second, and I can tug on it pretty good, and it's not going to come off. It's really making a good electrical connection, and you can see that that's good. All right. Some other things I noticed while working on these this series laptop is these Blu-ray players seem to get dirty, or something goes wrong with them. I'm not sure what it is, whether it's the laser or what it is, but you can buy replacements on eBay, and I picked this up for I'm not sure, maybe it was 40 bucks or so. Let's see if you can see the model. BC5500H, And the way it comes, these are brand new, and it doesn't come with the door trim. So you can see that this trim is missing, but you can remove it from your existing one. In order to get the trim off, you need to open the drive, and you can open that by pushing in on the little pin. There's a little pinhole. See if I can point to it here. There's a little pinhole right there. And if you poke a little pin gently in there, the door will pop open, and then you can access the trim and get it off. Change it, bada boom, bada bing, and then you got a new drive. So that's one of the problems. Another problem I noticed is these audio cards, this audio USB card, they become intermittent on the USB, and what happens is they're not really soldered very well on this side. And see if I can point this out. Okay, so right here, these should be soldered all the way through, and they're not. And it provides strength. It provides strength for the connector so it doesn't move around too much. So there's one on each side. There's one here and there, and then the same thing on these two. They also have them. And so that causes this USB connector to have a lot of play in it, and it wiggles back and forth, and that causes the solder joints to be cracked open on the other side. And so what I found was, I turn this around, was that these two grounds, so there's a ground right here and here on the connector. It's really part of the whole housing. And then there's another smaller ground. One of the smaller wires in here is actually a ground as well. And so I noticed on both of these connectors that they were broken. And you could wiggle this, and under a microscope you could clearly see that this connection, this ground connection for the case on both of the connectors, and also, yeah, they were loose. So what I did was I scratched away some of the copper, because this is all ground plane here. So I just scratched away some copper, scratched away, made it exposed, and then I went and I soldered these connections, soldered those connections, and soldered this one of the smaller wires in here, which I guess is the ground for the USB bus, I suppose. Is so I just made it one big ball of solder over here. And the same thing over here to get good electrical connection, so it would wiggle and it wouldn't damage it. When I changed the display, I just finished changing the display on this unit, and then ended up damaging the keyboard connector. We just talked about that. But it's very easy to get off. There is only one screw right here. Right underneath there. It's hard to see because I got the cable in the way, but there's one screw there, and then you got these three connectors. They just pop right off. And then on the other side there's this long dual coaxial cables. There's a red and a black, a black and a gray, and they come over here and just kind of weave through, and they come right on over to this card. So this is, see if we can focus in on that. Maybe not. Got terrible lighting. Well, I think it's a Wi-Fi card. But you can see that the black coax is on the left side, and the gray one is on the right. Because one of the machines I had done this, I took it apart, and then when I went to go back to put it back together, I couldn't remember which was which, and I had to go tear another reference unit apart just to figure out this. But okay, so that was it. So that's that one screw way over there. These connectors. You have to pop these two guys off. Pop, pop. They just pop right off carefully with a screwdriver. Just be gentle. Unwind it here, and then there's a major screw right there. And if you take those off, this entire display is just going to fall right off. So if you want to change it that way. Okay. Thanks for watching.